to all our viewers out there. My name is Heinrich Neetling, and this is Mathematical Literacy. In today's lesson, we'll be focusing on the topic of data handling, and more specifically on reading and interpreting of graphs and tables. Now, before we start with our lesson, let me quickly check something interesting with you. Did you know that the ability to interpret graphs is important to make sense of the world around us? It has also become a crucial skill to have in the workplace. Now, people can find reading and interpreting graphs difficult because graphs can be confusing and misleading. So what is it that I will expect of you in today's lesson? So here are our lesson objectives. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to, first of all, distinguish between the different types of graphs. Also, interpret and analyze graphs and tables. Then understand that graphs shows trends in data more clearly than data values in the table. Also important, you must be able to see and interpret patterns and trends in data. And then you must be able to perform calculations based on graphs and tables. Now let's quickly look at what you should know at this moment in time. So we refer to that as the pre-knowledge. So once data has been summarized, okay, it is often very useful to represent the data visually, okay. Now each type of graph offers a different picture of the data, and certain graphs are more appropriate for particular types of data. For example, we use pie charts to represent categorical data. Then also important, the way in which a graph is drawn alters the impression of the data being presented. Then the following factors, and I want you to keep this in mind, affect the impression created by a graph. Now that will be the scale of axis and the point at which the axis cross. Okay, more on that as we progress with our lesson. Now let's quickly look at what exactly we will be focusing on. So as I indicated, reading and interpreting of graphs and tables. And today we will look at pie charts. Thereafter we'll focus on double bar graphs, then line graphs, and then we'll also look at tables, just to give an idea of what is still in store. Then let's quickly check with you what you should know by now. Just basic questions. Okay, so the first question here says, define the term pie chart. All right, so I want you to answer this to the best of your ability. So a pie chart, we say it's a circular graph, and I'll write that down for you. It's a circular graph, right, that is divided into different sections, right? Or we also refer to this as sectors, right? Like a slice of a pie, for example. So a pie chart is a circular graph divided into different sections, okay, or different sectors. Are we clear on that? Then question number 2 says, choose the correct answer. Histograms are used for continuous or discrete data. Oh, that's correct. We definitely use a histogram to represent continuous data. And then our last question here, very straightforward. It says, what type of graph is displayed below? So looking at the graph, you'll agree with me, and I'll write the answer next to a question. This is a bar graph. Remember, I said one of the outcomes of today's lesson is that you must be able to distinguish between different types of graphs. So I hope that is clear to all of you. Let us move on with our lesson. So let's quickly revise some of the words and language that you should be familiar with at this point in time. So the first question, remember, I asked, what is a pie chart? So a pie chart is a circular graph, and it's divided up into different sections or sectors, as already indicated. Then also important to note is that a histogram, right, it's a type of bar graph that shows how frequently data occurs within certain intervals. Okay, so that is a histogram. Then also important, when we look at bar graphs, I indicated here that a bar graph compares different amounts using either vertical or horizontal bars. Okay, so we can then distinguish between a multiple bar graph, double bar graph, compound bar graph, or vertical stack graph for that matter. What else is important to you? All right, now we'll look at a line graph. So what is a line graph? It's a graph that uses line segments to connect the data points, right? And show change in data over time. That is a line graph. Then also we have what we call a broken line graph. This may have numbers that alternate between increasing and decreasing, right? It does not keep a consistent straight line. So I hope you notice the difference between the line graph and the broken line graph. Okay, what else are we looking at? We can also have a multiple line graph. This is a line or a broken line graph that show changes in data over time for more than, and this is important, right, for more than one category. Guys, I hope that is clear. Then what else do we have in terms of graphs is what we call a scatter plot. A scatter plot is made by plotting ordered number pairs in a coordinate plane to show sets of numerical data. Points are not connected by a line. So that is a scatter plot. Okay, I hope that all makes sense. Guys, let us quickly take a short advert break. After the break, we'll continue with our lesson. See you now.